Hi dear audience, hope you would be fine. Today in this short video we would be talking about the characteristics of good research question and some example of good and bad research questions. Basically, research questions are considered as the very backbone of your research. If you have dealt in a good manner with the research questions, means you have developed the good research question, then it would be easy for you to move on. But if you have trapped in those of the bad research question, it would be difficult for you throughout the process of research. So research questions, while developing the research question, certain things are need to be focused in mind. The quality of your research and the effectiveness of your research is basically on the research question. So the very first characteristics which is supposed to be present in your research question, means the good research question, that should be the clear and focused. If you are not clear and focused in your research question, then it would be turned into a very bad experience. A good research question should be specific and well defined, avoiding the ambiguity or the broad topics. Later on in the second part of this talk, I would be giving you the example that on what grounds these questions are good and on what grounds there are the bad questions. Definitely the bad question would be ambiguous. They would be dealing with the broader topics. They would not be specific and they would not be well defined. So the good research question should address a single issue. It should not be dealing all the domains of that study. It should address a single issue or a problem to ensure the clarity and the focus. The second characteristics which is supposed to be in the good research question, that is the relevance and the significant. For example, if the research question is relevant to your study, but if it is not significant, then it is of no use. Research is not just to grab the papers or just to fill the belly of the papers. You have to be significant as well. As you are going to invest a particular time of your life and academia, then definitely you have to contribute something in that domain of research. So research question should be relevant to the field of the study and address a significant problem or the gap in the knowledge. Usually students come to me and ask this question that I am unable to trace the gap. It is never mentioned that gap could not be filled in. For example, I give an example. Some day ago, a student came to me. He was just searching some topic, and then his question was that whether here is the gap or not. So examinophobia, the fear of exam is a natural one. But this study has been conducted in Africa and Bangladesh, but this study has not been conducted in Pakistan, and particularly in our area, and particularly on the students of our classes. So here is the gap. This is gap, means this study has already been practiced, but it has not been practiced on our student. So therefore, this is the gap, and this would be the significant as well. So it should contribute to the existing body of the research and have practical implications as well. The third characteristics which is considered of a good research question, that is the researchable and feasible. If the research question is not researchable, then definitely you are trapped. And if it is not feasible for you to collect the data are researchable, definitely if the research if it is not researchable and not feasible, then you are again trapped. So your research question should be researchable. For example, I give an example that I cannot meet the people, I cannot conduct basically research on the interviews of those people who have been the participant of the war of 1857. As those people are not living right now, so how I can get the interviews of those people who have been the participant of the war of 1857 in India? So I should, therefore, by selecting my research, I should be very careful and conscious about selecting the research question. So the research question should be answerable, and through research method and techniques available within the scope of the study. It should be feasible in the terms of time, resources, and ethical consideration as well. Similarly, specific to the research domain, the research question should be tailored to the specific domain or discipline being studied. It should reflect an understanding of the existing literature and theories in the field. It should be theory bounded as well. For example, if I'm going to conduct a theory on the learning of the language, then I should have to be well acquainted with the knowledge of those theories of, for example, Skinner, mentalist approach, all those. So they should be particularly specific to some research domain. For example, if I am going to do research on the language skills, then there are the 4 language skills. I have to mention that whether I am going to focus on, if I am going to focus on one skill of the language, that should be the speaking, writing, listening, speaking, whatsoever. I should be more specific to that domain. General question means like the language skills or language proficiency. These are the general questions which might be the bad questions. So the question should be open-ended and exploratory. While being focused, the research question should also allow for the exploration and provide room for a new insights and the discoveries. It should not have a predetermined or biased answer. For example, you might have been heard the people claiming that the teacher do not teach in the class. They are very rogue people. They are not hard working. So have you got this data or statistics through some systematic experiment, or these are your general bias questions and opinions? So always avoid that. For example, if I say all women are corrupt, so this is basically a nonsense question. So the original and innovative question, a good research question should strive to contribute something new to the field. It should reflect originality and innovation in its approach or the perspective. So if your research question are not the original and innovative, then your research is going to be the wastage of time and money. Then already we have talked it as measurable and quantifiable and attainable. If your research questions are not measurable, then it would be problematic. Means your research would be of no significance, and research questions would be the bone of contention for you. The research question should be lend itself in an empirical investigation and be measurable in the terms of the data collection and analysis. It should be possible to obtain meaningful and reliable results. Now, the research question should be engaging and interesting one as well. For example, if it is not engaging and interesting, then you might not get the good audience and the citations, particularly in the research orientation domains. Then your study would be just the collection of papers, not something significant. A well-crafted research question should spark curiosity and generate interest among the researchers and the readers. It should have potential to inspire further study and discussions as well. And then the well formulated and coherent, the research question should be well formulated and coherent, should be precise. The question should be logically structured and clearly articulated. These should be demonstrate a coherent line of inquiry and exhibit logical connection between its components. Then it should be revisable and flexible. A good research question should be open to revisions and adjustment based on evolving knowledge and emerging findings. It should be flexible enough to accommodate the changes during the research process. Similarly, by considering these characteristics, research can formulate good research questions that are powerful, purposeful, meaningful, contribute to the advancement of the knowledge in their respective field. This is the very short overview of the good research question. I again repeat the things: clear and focused, relevant and significant, researchable and feasible, specific to the research domains, open-ended and exploratory, original and innovative, measurable and attainable, engaging and interesting, revisable and flexible, well formulated and coherent ones. So these are basically the characteristics. Now we come to the examples that what are the example of a good research question. How they are clear, coherent, interesting, innovative, answerable, researchable. So the very first question, this is the example of good research question. How does the use of authentic material? This term authentic material is used in the research and that is well defined. So the impact, we are going to trace out the impact of authentic material on English language learners' motivation, engagement in the classroom. So all these words which are authentic material, impact, language learners, motivation, engagement, these are the basically variables and well defined categories that what you are going to do. So everything is well defined in this research question. So this is the example of a good research question. The next question is, what are the most effective strategies for promoting speaking skills? So the word speaking skill is highlighted among the English language learners in multicultural classroom. So this multicultural classroom context is given. Simply if we just say that English language learners in classroom, this would have been the very ambiguous or the bad research question. Then what are the key factors influencing English language teachers' adaptation and integration? So this word adaptation and integration of technology, this is more specific, clear, precise, answerable in their instructional practices. This word instructional practices is already well defined, clear and concise and to the point. Then how do this is another example of the good research question. How does the implementation of project-based learning? So this project-based learning is well defined, clear, concise, answerable and established one. Influence the English language learners acquisition. This word acquisition of language learners is well defined. Acquisition of vocabulary and grammar, these are the well defined, clear and interesting one. Even the word project-based learning, that's innovative, interesting, catchy to the reader. So these are the example of good research question. The other example is, what are the effects of teacher feedback on English language learners' writing proficiency and self-efficacy? So the word self-efficacy, proficiency, English language learners, feedback, effect of teachers' feedback, these are the well-defined research questions. Now we come to our the bad research question. These are the horribles. Just by going through the research question, you would easily understand that they are the bad research question. For example, what is the history of English language teaching? This is basically opposite to what we have discussed. This is not clear. This is not researchable. This is not focused on one issue. This is not interesting. This is not clear. This is not concise. This is not precise. Whatsoever you find, it has everything that is bad. Similarly, how many English language learners are there in worldwide? Can we count the language learners in the worldwide? Is it not interesting and is it not bad? So definitely, what are the benefits of learning English as a second language? Can we count the benefits of learning English language? So these are the very funny as well. How do the teachers feel about the teaching English as a second language? And what are the basic components of a lesson plan for teaching English? So these are the bad research questions. Basically, by going through the good research question and going through the bad research question, I think you would be very much clear that what should be kept in mind while formulating your research questions. So there is whatever the research question should be, but they should not be the bad research questions. So to the conclusion, the good research questions focus on specific aspect of language, English language teaching, purpose and investigation on the impact or the effectiveness of certain strategies, factors and that have potential to contribute to the existing body of knowledge. On the other hand, the bad research questions are either too broad, lack a clear research objective or ask for basic information that is already known. So I think with this I made it clear that what should be the characteristics of good research question. If you have any question, you may ask me in the comment section. Thank you very much.